Well, hello everyone. Happy Saturday. I hope you're having a good weekend so far, as good as you can, with all the craziness going around. But this this topic plays along with yesterday's, which was Plato's allegory of the cave. In fact, it is simply a new version of that allegory, and it is something that we've seen done many times in the past several decades. It's called wagging the dog. To wag the dog is basically to set up a performance piece to convince people of something totally different. Before we begin, as always, please remember to subscribe, turn on notifications so that you know of all new content as it posts, and so you're part of the giveaway at 500, 1,000, and 1,500 subscribers. That said, let's dive on in. Some years ago, a movie version of this, basically a movie showing the allegory of the cave to perfection, came out, literally called Wag the Dog. The premise of that movie is that the economy was not what people wanted, and there was a lot of things going on that needed to be redirected according to politicians. So they literally created a completely fake war. They would set up video cameras to shoot battle scenes, and they would interview soldiers, and they would do everything normal as if there was actually a war going on. The military really didn't know what was going on other than the extremely high echelons of command, because, as always, with any military conflict, there are those who go and there are those who do not. So the people who were left at home, filtered down through all of their command from the highest echelons down to the lowest, were basically told, "You haven't been called." When the war was over, no one really knew what was going on because soldiers came home. Everything was acted out, and this was literally Plato's allegory of the cave. If you watched my second video yesterday, it discusses how the modern media today is the personification of the fire and the puppeteers. They don't tell you the news anymore and then let you decide what to think. They tell you what to think, and you have to figure out what happened. And that is wagging the dog. Now, I'm not in any way saying that anything going on today is fake. I know it's not. But the response to it is a bit unique. You see, when we had SARS, MERS, H1N1, Ebola, all very dangerous pandemics in their own right, we didn't shelter in place. We didn't quarantine. We quarantined those who were sick, yes. Only certain people went in to see them. They were all wearing massive amounts of PPE. They were treated, and only when they were no longer afflicted by those diseases were they released. The flu has killed more people this year than COVID-19. Flu kills far too many every year. Pneumonia, tuberculosis, alcoholism, suicide, spousal abuse. All of these things have killed a lot of people. What got me thinking of Plato's allegory of the cave, and ultimately Wag the Dog, was Dr. Burkes' statement that any and all deaths of someone afflicted with COVID-19 are recorded as a death from COVID-19. I said in the video where I discussed this that I heard a story where someone said more men die with prostate cancer than from prostate cancer. It's an important distinction. Assuming my life continues, my health continues into my senior years, and I die peacefully of old age, I will die with tuberculosis. I've said it before, I worked in a jail for a year. That is a breeding ground for illnesses. I took more sick days in that 1 year than I do in 2 years at most other jobs. Everyone did, because you're basically in a hot box with people who are around each other 24/7. Only the officers and a few very trusted inmates get to go outside the inmates to mow the yard. So I am a carrier for tuberculosis. I will die with tuberculosis. from what my doctors have told me over the years, I should not die from tuberculosis. That is the distinction. I will die with tuberculosis. I will likely die with evidence of the flu or the common cold or any one of a number of things in my system. But unless those are the direct cause, then you should not record the cause of death as those items. Along that line of thought, that right there tells me that there is, even if unconscious, a shift in policy. Because when you deliberately say, it doesn't matter if they died of pneumonia or old age or diarrhea or AIDS or cancer, they were infected with COVID-19, even if asymptomatic, so they are a COVID-19 death. That is going to skew so many numbers, and it's going to just stoke fear. We're going to watch as influenza and other death rates fall and COVID-19 spikes. And a lot of the reason, I think, is, even if unconscious, people are so scared of this because it has been hyped so badly by the media and hyped and screamed about from one end of the spectrum to the other by the same people that no one really knows which route to take. Just over a month ago, Congressman Eric Swalwell tweeted, "Don't wear face masks," #coronavirus. Not long after that, he recanted that and said he should not have listened to the Surgeon General and we should wear face masks. That is part of it, okay? You have people who, in Swalwell's case, he despises Donald Trump so badly that when Trump was saying, if you feel like you should wear a mask, wear a mask, when the Surgeon General said, well, it's not necessary, he quite literally told everyone not to wear them. Representative Maxine Waters has directly tweeted that no one should be given hydroxychloroquine, despite multiple medical doctors saying that hydroxychloroquine, coupled with Z-Pak and other treatment, is providing favorable results. Dr. Siegel, when he was talking with Tucker Carlson, told the story of a 96-year-old man suffering with COVID-19, had all the symptoms, was given hydroxychloroquine and zinc, and recovered. Dr. Anthony Cardillo has said he's seen people with strong symptoms recover in a matter of 12 hours using hydroxychloroquine and zinc. Governor Whitmer famously said she would sanction doctors who prescribed it, only to later beg for 10,000 doses. That is wagging the dog. Swalwell, Waters, Whitmer, and others so vehemently hate the Republican Party that if Donald Trump said, you need to make sure you stay hydrated, you need to make sure you eat a balanced diet, get plenty of rests, and all of the other normal things for a healthy life, they would tell you, Donald Trump just doesn't want you eating what you like. He doesn't want you staying up watching movies. You should be able to do what you want. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. And that is the problem we have, because they are so eat up with their own hatred and their own drive to be the only person in power that they put people in danger. There are people who listen to them and likely who didn't wear a mask or who turned down hydroxychloroquine when it was prescribed. Back onto the original topic, Plato's allegory has never been more prevalent in my 43 years almost of life. Okay, we did have the Iran-Contra affair. We did have, Desert Storm, Desert Shield, now Operation Iraqi Freedom. And those were definitely hyped. And after 9/11, people went nuts on a lot of things. But we didn't have the media directly countering everything being said by the president, only to later say, well, maybe they were right. We didn't have them under SARS, MERS, or H1N1 saying, do not take this medicine, it is untested. Only to later have to admit, medical doctors are saying it is providing favorable results. Although I've not seen any of the talking heads that have the prevalent name go as far as to say, well, maybe hydroxychloroquine works. The Washington Post famously said Trump is recommending untested medications. Well, Washington Post, what medication has been tested for a virus that has never before been seen on this planet? None. Doctors study for years, normally till they're 26 or 28, to earn their medical degree. Some then specialize and study longer. Those people are looking at the virus. They are looking at what it causes. And they first say, well, this is a respiratory disease. Let's look at what medications treat other respiratory diseases. Then let's narrow down the field. Then let's go to this test and that test and that test. And then we have so-called journalists and politicians saying, Donald Trump just wants you dead. Don't take this. It's dangerous. And it all comes back to this. If they control the narrative, if they control what you see and hear, you are literally watching a puppet show and you're stuck in the cave. I understand. You can't just ignore the news. We do need to know what's going on. But I don't listen to newscasts from anyone but my local stations. And I normally watch 2 or 3 of them. I DVR the 10 o'clock news on ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. And I will go through all of them. And then I see what's being said the same way by everyone. What do they disagree on? I question it, and then I go forward with it. I don't watch the news broadcast on even Fox, especially not any of the others. I watch Tucker, watch Hannity, Judge Jeanine, Laura Ingraham. They are opinion hosts. They're not sitting there saying, this is the news of the day. They're saying this has been reported, and then they're giving their thoughts on it. They're expounding on it. They're literally telling you, this is what I believe. And I enjoy their shows. I don't watch the rest of it. I've, for years, and I wish I could find a way to make it work on my website now, but I can't find the old RSS feed. For years, I had an RSS feed that I had on a website that I gave no one the URL to. And I left it crawling on my desktop 24/7. And it was literally the who, the what, the when, and the where, and the how. Not the why. It was literally, this happened on this date, at this time, in this place, and these people were involved. I would then go look at 5 to 10 to 15 different reports on the items that caught my eye. And I would notice, everyone is saying the same thing on this, but they're all disagreeing on that. And I would ask questions. That is the key to escaping the cave. Question. I'm not saying ignore advice and question everything until you become an expert on everything. But if a medical doctor, like Anthony Cardillo, or like others, are telling you, this is what I believe should be used to treat this condition, you might ask them a couple of questions. I mean, if I was taken in for COVID-19 and I was told hydroxychloroquine and Z-Pak, I'd probably ask my doctor, how sure are you on this? If they come back with, I really don't know, but this is all we have, I might question a bit more. But if they came back and said, well, we've watched this and this and this, and we're hearing good reports, I would trust my doctor. I'm not going to listen to politicians who, in an election year, are so focused on regaining control of the government that they are literally telling people what to do when it comes to medical advice that they are not qualified to give. I don't go out a lot on my own, ever, okay? I went and saw Endgame because a friend of mine bought me the ticket. I reciprocated by taking him to see Spider-Man Far From Home. Those are the only 2 movies I have seen in the last 3 years in the theater. Infinity War, Black Panther, Civil War, all of them on television. or on Netflix because my parents have it, so we have it because we have my nephews and my niece. I just don't go out. I don't go to restaurants. And for crying out loud, I can count on one hand the number of times I went and sat down at a restaurant and ate in the last 6 or 9 months before all this started. I like to read. I like my solitude. I talk to my friends. I do go out and see them randomly, but not regularly. I would come home and watch the news and watch my TV shows and do this. And I would eat at home. I have a baked potato cooking right over there. So, this is not a change for me, honestly. The biggest change is I'm reading more nonfiction than I was prior. Because at work, I don't want to get into a book that I want to study real hard. At present, I was reading Starship Troopers. I've actually gone back and reread The Allegory of the Cave several times before I made the video yesterday. I go back and I read things because that's what I enjoy. And that is what has me questioning the news. I know I'm touching my face. Sorry. Mosquito season, I got bit. But that's what has me question the news regularly, is knowing that Allegory of the Cave and having heard it first in my junior year of high school. That bugged the crap out of me that we have people who just don't understand they're being controlled. Even 27 years ago, whatever it was, by the news. And that's worrying. And it should be worrying. And it should wake people up. But unfortunately, it doesn't. I don't know. But I've talked about this long enough. I've gone on and rambled for long enough. Tangential rants is over. Let me know what you think. As always, stay civil in the comments. Also, as always, if Swalwell, Waters, Whitmer, or any of them show up in the comments, I will be bluntly honest, but I will not be rude or vulgar. I would ask that you not be uncivil in the comments, because we're adults. We can have a civil conversation with disagreements and debates and dissent, and stay adults about it. Also, please remember to like and share the video to spread the conversation, and so you want to be subscribed with notifications on to know about all content, and so that you're part of the giveaway at 500, 1,000, and 1,500 subscribers. That said, everyone stay safe, stay smart, stay healthy, stay home if you can, be careful if you can't. And until next time, everyone have a wonderful day.